What's meant by the term depth of flavour or levels of flavour? Hi, I'm Murray from the YC Cookery School, where we help you to sharpen your skills in the kitchen and keep your cookery journey moving forward. In this video I'm going to explain about the three main levels of flavour and how to apply them to your cooking. I'll also give you a couple of good examples at the end of this video of dishes that demonstrate this principle really well, so stick around for that. In our courses we constantly use these three levels of flavour as an example to give clear understanding of when to add certain ingredients to a dish and what effect these ingredients will have on the dish. All of these three levels are really important to make a dish full of flavour, okay, so or tasty if you like. Some ingredients can be used in more than one level to have a different effect on the dish. These three main levels that we refer to are the base level of flavour, the mid-level of flavour and the finishing flavour. The base level of flavour is the underlying level of flavour where the richness of the dish comes from. You can't necessarily identify the individual items that are in that level of flavour, but it's the layer that dictates whether the dish is going to be rich in flavour or bland. We boost this level of flavour with things like stock, mirepoix vegetables, hard herbs, etc. For example, you might put some onions, carrots, garlic, rosemary into a beef stew, and after a few hours the flavour will be rich, but you won't necessarily be able to taste any of those individual ingredients. When you cook shellfish, for example, the shells themselves release a great amount of flavour into the dish, and it's those shells that really add a lot of body to the dish. Another good example would be stock. Chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock. Once the stock is cooked, you can't really identify with the bones or the vegetables or the herbs that went into the stock, but it generally tastes rich and full of flavour. Try cooking couscous, for example, with some chicken stock. It'll taste fantastic, but it won't necessarily taste like chicken. The mid-level of flavour refers to the predominant flavour or the main ingredient in the dish. So the tomato and the tomato sauce, or the beef and the beef stew, for example. It's the most obvious level of flavour, but unless it's supported by the other two levels of flavour, you're really missing an opportunity to elevate the main star in the dish, the main level of flavour in the dish. The finishing flavour is the last minute addition that really brings the dish to life and elevates the other flavours. And if it's carefully thought through, it can add to the presentation as well. Though it's really important to make sure that it's there for flavour first before presentation. There used to be a trend in restaurants years ago to throw a handful of chopped parsley on everything to give it some colour, give it a bit of green. And that's really not the main idea. The finishing flavour needs to add to the dish. It's the squeeze of lemon juice over the top of a plate of seafood pasta, or a couple of drops of olive oil on the top of the soup at the end, a handful of coriander and lime juice that goes into the end of a Thai curry. Really vibrant flavour at the end that complements and lifts the dish. The finishing flavour is always quite recognisable and really complement and contrast slightly with the dish, but they shouldn't clash with it. So coming back to my example of rosemary in a beef stew, you could put the rosemary in at the start of the dish, but if you wanted it to taste like rosemary, you'd chop some up or you'd infuse some in the end as a finishing flavour, and that rosemary would come right through the dish and taste of rosemary. Whereas the rosemary that went in the base level flavour at the start of the stew would be fairly unrecognisable by the time it got to the plate. The finishing flavour is often the level that's neglected the most actually, but it is the level of flavour that can really elevate a dish from nice or from pretty good right up to that next level of being fantastic. If you'd like to watch a couple of examples of dishes that demonstrate this principle really well, the thumbnails will be on screen in a minute. One is our cod and clams dish with chorizo and gremolata mash, where the shells and the garlic and the white wine add to the base level of the dish. The chorizo is sort of the mid-level flavour, and lemon and parsley are the finishing flavours. Well, the other is a classic beef bourguignon. The recipe is a Julia Child's original, so it's a very classic French beef stew. And in this clip it's beautifully demonstrated by Karina from the Cafe Delights channel. Okay, so the bacon, the mirepoix veg, the red wine, a little bit of parsley, all goes into the base level flavour. The beef and the mushrooms is obviously the main element of the dish. And then the finishing flavour is the chopped parsley. So similar to what I was talking about before. So it really is as straightforward as that. 3 levels of flavour. If you've got any questions regarding this video or anything that you've seen on our channel, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Remember to hit subscribe to keep up to date with our weekly clips to help transform your cooking. Thanks for watching. See you soon.